Okay, part 2 of chapter 11, part 6, chapter 11. Yes, because my bank gave money out to an American company, Audible I think it was, but it was actually scammers. And now they're paranoid every time my monthly Focal Media payment goes out, which is nuts because it's been 3 months since then. You think they'd have worked it out by now, but you know, some bot can't work it out. And it's not programmed to work things out, so I have this little annoyance every frickin' time now. But anyway, it's good that they check in a way, because I cannot afford to lose what little money I have, people of Earth, on scammers or other people's stupidities. So, yes, I just had to confirm that that payment was okay. Right, where was I? Interrupted. Oh yes, sindicato meant trade unions. I have had 2 occasions as an adult to think about all of this. Once was when my father went back to visit the bakery he called his factory. He had sold it at least 5 years earlier and hadn't been back since. He had said that he'd been invited back, but I doubted that. It was more likely that, despite his preoccupation with his investments, he was bored and suffering from what Sophie called new wave nostalgia. The first wave was for the old days back home. The second wave was for the old days at the bakery. Whatever it was that had made him take it, the trip down memory lane had not gone well for him. It had left him alternately angry and listless. Oh, bless. My mother brought my father around to our place the following Saturday in the hope that, by playing with his grandson, Sam couldn't have been more than 2 at the time, my father might forget whatever it was about his visit to the factory that had upset him. Joe, as he often was when my parents came to visit, was out. My father played a little with Sam, but not with his usual gusto. When I asked him if anything was wrong, my mother, unable to contain herself any longer, blurted out that he had been this way since he'd been back to the factory. "Did she ask you?" my father snapped at my mother. "No, but I worry about you." "I'm all right," he said dismissively. "What's wrong, Dad?" What was wrong was that the bakery he had lovingly nurtured and expanded, the first of 2 he had ended up owning, had changed. It had become high-tech. There were computers and screens now, and the old ovens had been replaced by new ones, wired to the computers. None of the old guys were there anymore, not even the newer old guys. Strangers were working strange shifts in his factory, never touching the dough, never kneading it. It's a bit odd, isn't it? I guess they have machines to knead the dough now. "They don't touch the bread," he said. "They never touch the bread." Icons appeared on computer screens, providing options for every stage of the manufacturing process. Bread-coloured images appeared, permitting the operator to choose from a menu: Italian, French, rye, roll, loaf, and various oven temperature options. The operators didn't watch the ovens. They could monitor each stage of the process on the screen. Frequently, the computer failed to assess the precise nature of the raw material in the oven at the time, and the loaves burned. There were large dump bins near the ovens holding mounds of blackened loaves. The bakeries were now 2 of a small chain. It seems it was more efficient for the chain to just throw out the failed loaves and provide a standardized product from each of its stores in its standardized bags, each with a caricature of a short, stocky southern European man holding a tray of baked goods in one hand and putting the thumb and 2 fingers of his other hand to his lips. "They never touch the bread," my father repeated. The operators walked off the job even though the oven bells were ringing. They left it to the next shift to come and add the charred loaves to the mounds already in the dump bins. "They don't care," my father began after a pause. "One walks away from his mess not caring, and a new one comes on, and he doesn't care because it's not his mess. They're not bakers, these people. I don't know what they are, these musigiali, but they're not bakers. I'm telling you that for sure." "Are they Chinese?" I asked him. "Most of them, some kind of musigiali. They can't even speak English. I tried, I saw them burning every 3rd loaf, and I tried to stop it, to look into it. There must have been something wrong with the computer's instructions to the ovens. What do they call it? The computer, the software, the program? Yeah." So I pointed out to the manager, even the manager's musogialo. Can you believe it? I point to the burnt loaves and then to the computer, and I tell him, "Something's wrong here, Mr. Ng." That's the name on his badge. "Is it a joke? It's not even a name." And he just nods and says something about head office. "It's not your problem anymore, Dad." I never had problems like that. I'm telling you that for sure. I would never have had all those Pagliacci. You can't tell them what to do because they can't speak English. They can't fix the computers when they break. They don't even want to. Don't blame it on the Asians, Dad. I hate it when you talk like that. I know it's not their fault. They don't know bread. It's not their culture. They didn't have it till Marco Polo gave it to them. That's right, isn't it, Anna? Dad. You know whose fault it really is? It's the new owners. They don't care about quality. They just want to get it out as fast as possible so they can sell more. I built that place, Anna, from nothing, and now? That doesn't make sense, Dad. What doesn't make sense? They must care about the quality to a certain extent. If the quality is poor, people will stop buying their bread, and they care about that. Who? The new owners. They don't care about quality, Anna. Are you kidding with me? They go into the bedroom with the sindicato, and that's why they have all the Chinese, and then they make up lost sales with lower costs. You know what I mean? No, I don't. It's the new owners. That doesn't make any sense, Dad. It's the Beggs and the Steins. That's one of their old tricks. You know what I'm saying? You're saying the new owners are Jewish and you blame them? Sure. Well, you would know if they're Jewish. Sure they are. What are their names? What names? The names of the people you sold the bakery to. I can't remember that now. It's been years. Do you remember if they had Jewish names? They hid them, Anna. They're clever people. They always hide their names. They know how to do it. I'm telling you that for sure. Dad, what do you mean they hid them? They don't use their real names. They use a company name. So it was a company who bought the business from you. Sure, it's not my fault. They offered a good price. How could I know the names behind the company? But you're saying they were Jewish. Anna, Principessa, these people, it's what they do. Chapter 12. The second time that I had occasion as an adult to think of Jews and of saints and martyrs was more recent. I had left work early to pick Sam up from school. This wasn't something I usually did, but the housekeeper was off that day and Joe had some reason for not being able to take Sam home. We had argued over whether Sam was old enough to walk home from school by himself. It was my view that he wasn't, and I decided I'd pick him up, something I now wish I had done every day. It gave me the opportunity to take an old bracelet in to a local jeweller for repair. It was just a simple bracelet Simon had given me, but despite the passage of time, I could never bring myself to stop wearing it. Somehow it had become a part of me, one of the few parts I hadn't wanted to change. From time to time it would break, sometimes the clasp, sometimes a link, but I always got it repaired. The first time it broke, Simon and I were still together, and for a reason unknown to me then, Simon had wanted to take it to one particular jeweller to be repaired. I thought it might have been because the store was in a small shopping strip and looked like it could use the business. Whatever Simon's reason, that's where I'd been taking it whenever it needed fixing. The old man, the suburban jeweller, and I knew each other to the extent of smiling a smile of recognition each time I went in there. I don't think I have ever been there for any reason other than to have Simon's bracelet repaired, nor do I think I had ever brought Sam in with me before. The old man probably assumed I was coming in because of the bracelet. He had at times refused any payment, insisting that the repair hadn't taken him long. He always greeted me with a smile and a slight twinkle in his eyes. The twinkle was always there in the small man who never aged but seemed to have always been old. His hair was white and thin, and he spoke quietly with a gentle Eastern European accent. The smile seemed to say that we shared a secret, the bracelet. I wondered then whether perhaps Simon had bought it from him all those years ago. Time had stood still in the little shop, as if trapped by history. This time I walked in with the same bracelet in need of a similar repair, but also with a little boy, my son. The man's smile was a little wider than this time, the sparkle in his eyes a little brighter. Bless. Your son is getting bigger, the old jeweller commented, looking at Sam, who had by this time gone to examine some watches, or more particularly, the rotating watch stands that held them. Yes, I smiled, to which the jeweller said nothing verbally, but registered silent and clear approval through those shining eyes of his. It's the same bracelet again, I said, taking it out of a plastic bag. Ah, yes, how could I forget it, this bracelet? You still like it, don't you? Yes, It's simple but very nice, the jeweller interrupted softly. I wasn't sure whether he was finishing the sentence for me, telling me what he thought of it, or commenting on my continued fondness for something so unprepossessing. Well, my little Bo, my little Kermie, you've lost all your long tail feathers and you look a bit naked now. You look a bit stripped bare. I guess they'll grow again. Sam was rotating the watch spinner faster now, and I asked him to stop. "It's all right," the old jeweller said, and Sam kept going, making it spin even faster. "No, I'm sorry," I said to him, and then called to Sam. "Come on, Sam, come over here. Don't you want to see how the man is going to look at my bracelet? He has to look very carefully, more carefully than we normally do when we look at things." At this, Sam came over quickly and stood quietly beside me at the counter. I ran my fingers through his hair as he watched the old man take a jeweller's magnifying glass and affix it to his eye. "Of course, it's not that the links are so very small," he began apologizing, "but my eyes, well, they're not so big anymore. They get smaller as I get older." "No, mine too," I said too quickly, as though to assure him. I don't know what, that he wasn't that old, or that everybody's eyes deteriorated as they got older. The old man picked up a small pair of tweezers, hesitated and put them down again. We watched in silence as he undid the button on his left shirt sleeve and began to roll it up his arm. Then he took the bracelet and the tweezers to the light of a lamp on the counter, and for a moment everything was perfectly still. Sam was leaning in close, as though a momentous discovery were about to be made, and I stood beside him, suddenly loving him a little bit more for his deep interest in the jeweller's inspection of the bracelet. The two of them peered in at it, and that was when I noticed, for the first time, that the jeweller had a series of numbers tattooed into the flesh of his forearm. It had never occurred to me that this old man I had been visiting periodically for 10 or so years to have my bracelet fixed was a Jew, much less a Holocaust survivor. I'd never thought about his origins. It's this link here, of course, but maybe also this one next to it. I would tighten this one, but the other one will probably break again. Oh no, really? I probably have in the back, if you could leave it with me. I know how much you like this. I have a collection in the back of links and old bracelets. I am sure I could find a silver one very much like these to replace this one, the weakest one, but it will take some time to go through all of them to find the right one, the closest one. Can you leave it with me for a bit? My wife used to say, "Stop keeping this junk," but in this junk now might be the link that saves you. We can see. Can you leave it with me for a little bit? Yes, of course. I'm sure I'll have something for you, he said. Oh, thank you so much. And for the little boy, what is his name? Sam. Sam, that's a good name. Do you like your name, Sam? Yes, Sam answered a little uncertainly. Then you like my name. Do you know why? 'Cause it's your name too? That's right, but they call me Samuel. Some of them when they call. Anyway, Sam, for being such a good boy, for you I have something, he said. Reaching into a drawer under the counter, he handed Sam a boiled sweet, tightly wrapped in cellophane. Is it all right I give him? Oh, sure, he eats worse than that every day at school. What do you say to the gentleman, Sam? Do you have a num? Say thank you to the gentleman, Sammy, I said to shut him up. Why do you have a num? Meaning, why do you have a number tattooed on your arm? Thank you. We'll have to go, I'm afraid. So, okay, you go and leave it with me. I'll find a link for you, and then you'll come back with Sam, he said, looking up at me. Sam had put the boiled sweet in his pocket and was transfixed by the number on the man's arm. I made a point of not looking at it, although I had never seen one before. Instead, I looked back into his eyes. The gleam, the sparkle, was tiny but always there, like a permanent tear. Outside, on the window above the door, it read in small print, Proprietor Samuel J. Leibovitz. There's a strange noise coming up from under my house, like a croaking of a frog. There it goes again. Maybe it is a frog. I had never noticed it before. As soon as we had left the shop, Sam asked me why the man had a number on his arm. I didn't know where to start with the answer to that. I thought that he was probably too young then to hear any kind of historical explanation, but I would have to tell him one day, even though I myself had trouble understanding how it could have happened. And if I didn't tell him, who would? My father? How would Joe explain it? It dawned on me with a certain horror outside the little jewellery store that I didn't know anyone I could trust to teach him even a tiny but accurate and unadulterated grain of the truth about man's capacity for inhumanity. I certainly couldn't. But wasn't I just like everybody else in this? And anyway, did what happened then still matter that much? Yes, it fucking does. It still matters very, very much to this very day and forever into eternity, people of Earth. Never forget. Ever, ever, ever. Could we let it not matter that much? You could, but when you forget, history repeats, you understand. How quickly things were forgotten with the COVID epoch. Even in Israel, one of the first countries to enforce COVID vaccination on its own citizens. A country populated by Holocaust survivors and the grandchildren of Holocaust survivors went along with that evil. It still blows my mind to this very day, people of Earth. I'll never get over that. Just that alone, I won't get over. By the gods. It's almost like they forgot the experiments by Dr. Mengele in Auschwitz and all the people that were slaughtered in little tiny caravans with quick cyanide and strychnine injections. How quickly they forgot. Well, the Mamati did not forget. The Mamati is not so foolish as to choose to forget or look away or obfuscate her responsibilities and her duties. The only reason why I couldn't save people was I was silenced and shadow banned. The only reason. but I spoke out at every opportunity I could. Who knows, maybe I saved one person. They say in the Torah, or is it Talmud, to save one person, you save a whole world. I can only hope so. Someone out there might still have grandchildren. Mine were robbed of me by a bioweapon. On with the story. There was Simon's prints all over the sequence of thoughts. That bastard, that madman. One day he took my son, just like that. Now I see his prints all over my life. I thought I'd have to tell Sam something, but I didn't want to frighten him or give him nightmares. It was a problem I wasn't expecting, and as a parent I was ill-equipped to deal with it. I was ill-equipped and alone. The one thing I did know to tell Sam was that he mustn't say anything about the number on the jeweller's arm when we went back to collect the bracelet. But we didn't go back to collect the bracelet, nor did I go on my own. It was Michael Gardiner who picked up the bracelet for me. The cardiovascular clinic was not far from the jewellery shop. He insisted. A small favour. His efforts to have me agree to spend a weekend with him were unsubtle and relentless. True, the attention was flattering, at times even embarrassing, and the prospect of being caught out was a little frightening. But, to be honest, it was a little exciting. More than that, it was distracting, and I wanted to be distracted. I was ready to be distracted, and it was guilt-free, at least thus far. I wasn't doing anything. He was. He was reeling me in, but I couldn't keep not doing anything. What the hell were all the squats and crunches for anyway? I had a pancake flat stomach. I had sweated for it. I wasn't dead yet. We agreed that I was to have a work-related conference, this time for an entire weekend, and we'd go away somewhere. We would fly somewhere. I had told Joe my lies. I was packed. I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect, but I hadn't expected it not to happen. That was the Friday that Simon came rushing back into my life. All bets were off. Chapter 13. Will passenger Anna Geraghty, please make her way to the information desk? Passenger error Anna Geraghty, please. It's never good and always a little surreal when they call your name over an airport's public address system. It was to get progressively more surreal. The message I was given at the information desk was so bizarre it defied understanding, let alone belief. Unable to wait for Michael to get there, he'd been held up. I called him on his mobile phone to explain. An old boyfriend of mine from years ago has apparently just taken my son from school. I have to go home immediately. I'm sorry. Yes, taken as in kidnapped. Yes, I'm serious. Why would I make something like this up? Look, if I didn't want to go, I'd tell you. I would. I certainly wouldn't come up with something like this. Michael, I'm telling you the truth. Where do you think? I'm in a cab right now, going home. You've got to believe me. This is my son. It's got nothing to do with... No, it's got nothing to do with us. I am calm. Well, you wouldn't sound too calm either if someone had just taken. No, I think he's okay, but I want to see for myself, obviously. Completely out of the blue. Not for 10 years. Really? Well, he was perfectly sane last time I saw him. A teacher. I told you. 10 years. You're not serious? Michael, for God's sake. No, no one else. I am not making any of this up. I wish I were. Nothing like this has ever happened to you. Nothing like this has ever happened to me. Well, soon as I can, but I just want to see that he's all right. Well, yes, whenever my son is kidnapped, I am apt to cry. Please, Michael, bear with me. I don't know what's going on. The reception cut out on my mobile phone in the back seat of the cab. As I wiped my eyes with a tissue I'd found in my bag, the phone rang, and thinking it was either Michael or Joe, I hurried to answer. But it was neither of them. This was the first in a series of calls from a man whose mix of formality and intimacy, discretion and impertinence was unlike any I had ever experienced. It was Dr. Alex Klima. He had been put through to my mobile phone by one of the receptionists at work, and he begged me not to hang up. He was Simon's psychiatrist, and he wanted to talk to me about the madness that had alighted on my son and me. I took down his details. He couldn't really discuss it over the phone. Would I be able to meet him? I felt dirty. Yes, my Kermie. Yes. Can you stop the car, please? I called to the driver, but we were still on the freeway and he showed no signs of even slowing. Will you pull over to the side of the road? Stop the fucking car. This time he heard me. He pulled over, and with the cars whooshing past us, I opened the door and vomited in the emergency lane. Sam was untouched other than by me. I wouldn't let him go. He didn't seem to know what the fuss was about. I sat him down and made him go through everything that had happened, moment by moment. It had been after school. He had been playing with a few boys in the school ground. Who were they? Some boys. Are they your friends? I don't know. Sam, this is important. What do you mean you don't know? I know you're upset, but who were they? I'm not upset. Were these boys your friends? I don't know. They're okay. They're older. How much older? Grade 3 and grade 4 and some grade 2. Did they make you do something? No. Anything? No. Did they make you go with them? We played marbles. Really, Sam, you can tell me the truth. Is that really? No, it's not the truth. They played marbles, but I didn't really. What did you do? They wouldn't let me have a turn. Were you upset? No, I just watched and waited. What were you waiting for? My turn. And what about going home? I was waiting for Dad to pick me up. And when Dad didn't come, I went home with the other man. But Sam, what have we always said about strangers? Don't talk to strangers. I know. So why did you? He wasn't a stranger, Mum. I know him. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not in trouble, am I? Sam insisted that Simon wasn't a stranger, although he couldn't say who he was or where he'd seen him. Interesting. Surely the child would remember that he saved him from drowning. It didn't make any sense that he seemed perfectly unharmed. He had played with a dog been given some chocolate milk by a lady, and then had gone to sleep till the police came. And then, after a little while, he saw his dad. Joe claimed that one of the receptionists at work had left him a memo of a phone call from the school informing him that Sam had gone on a school excursion and should be picked up somewhat later than usual. I shouted at him. I told him I didn't believe him. He couldn't produce the memo. Don't you fucking blame this on me. Don't be angry, Dad. Dad, don't yell at Mummy. Dad? Sam was crying. I put my arm around him. It's all right, my little Sam. You've been seeing him again, haven't you? Joe said. Don't be ridiculous. Of course you have. How long? Joe, how long have you been seeing him? Joe, I don't know what the hell is going on, but it's not that. Has this got something to do with the conference you were meant to be going to this weekend? Joe, can we talk about this later? I just want to get him. Just tell me the fucking truth. I am telling the truth. Please, just let me get him ready for bed, and then maybe we can figure this out. I swear I don't know any more than you do. Once Sam was in bed, I spent about an hour trying to convince Joe that I had not been having an affair with Simon Haywood, and that I was as much at a loss to explain what was going on as he was. I told him I wanted to go and speak to Simon's parents. Perhaps they could shed some light on what had led him to take our son. This was only partially a lie. I did go out that night to try to learn what had made him do it. I met Dr. Alex Klima, and for 2 hours I listened in silence as he told me all about Sam and even a little about me. On the way back home, I stopped at the police station in St Kilda. The investigating officers weren't there. Simon was there, but the police wouldn't let me see him. Excuse me, I just need a bit more mango. A bit more almost rotten mango. If I'd left it another day or two, it would have been rotten for sure. I didn't know if I wanted to see him. The sergeant at the desk confirmed that there had been a woman there too. She was somehow involved, but she hadn't been charged. They had let her go. The woman was the prostitute Dr. Klima had told me about. She was the link between Simon and my husband. When I got home, Sam was still asleep and Joe was drunk. I could smell it in the house as soon as I opened the front door. They still got your boyfriend locked up? Joe, I know everything. I'm sure you do. Maybe you can start telling me some of it. You can cut it out, Joe. I know about her. Who? I know about your whore, Angelique. We lay beside each other in bed that night. 2 hostile strangers married to each other. I kept thinking about Simon, about what the psychiatrist Alex Klima told me had become of him, and about what Klima had suggested. He'd asked, pleaded, that I tell the police that Simon and I were having an affair and that Simon had had permission to take Sam. This psychiatrist needed help himself if he thought I was going to tell the police that. He was just the sort of psychiatrist Simon would get. Worldly, mellifluous, well-spoken, and completely unhinged by a loyalty to Simon, bordering on love. That would be the one, all right. He had asked me if I would save Simon by telling the lie Simon wanted me to tell, a lie that even he, Klima, acknowledged would cost me my marriage. So this is where we are now, all of us separate people, he had said towards the end. What the hell right did he have to be critical of me, particularly on the very day that all his worldliness had come crashing down, the day his star patient had kidnapped my son? The jibe was unambiguous. If he thought this was the only way to win friends and influence people, he was crazier than Simon. It had occurred to me, he said, that it would not be possible for Simon to get you out of his system without him actually seeing you again, without establishing contact. My thinking was, with respect, that you could not help but disappoint him now. This might hurt him very much in the short run. It might even drive him back to his darkened bedroom. But after a while his despair over the reality of you, as opposed to his idealization of you, would evaporate, and with it a lot of other things. I told him this. I think he was coming around to contacting you. I think you could have helped him just by being the person that you are, with your fears and weaknesses, and him seeing that you have them just like the rest of us. It would not have taken much. He nearly called you several times. You weren't to know. He nearly called you last night. To a background of a rhythmic snoring from a not entirely asleep Joe, I wondered what it was about me that Dr. Klima held could not help but disappoint Simon now. What was so disappointing about the reality of me? And what kind of therapist, I wondered, permits himself to become the spokesperson for a crazy man, the spokesperson for one of his mistakes? The kidnapping of my son was Simon's doing and his psychiatrist's not doing, and yet its undoing, according to the same psychiatrist, was my responsibility. Only I could help Simon now, he told me. And I didn't shout him down. I didn't storm out. I just sat there and listened to my former lover's passionate intermediary, this highly qualified, articulate stranger. You're the only one that can help him. He wants you to tell them that he is your lover, that he had your permission to take Sam. That is the only course that can save him now. Or why would you want to save him? Because he's ill and because he's never stopped loving you. Among other things, he is ill because he never stopped loving you. We know how that goes, don't we, people of Earth? I'm not saying you owe him anything beyond that which we all owe each other, but when we are all finished being told that everyone out there must take responsibility for himself, what is it like when we get home? What is it like inside? He can be cast out, and he had never done anything wrong till now. You think it would be the end of everything to help him like this, but it would only be the end of some things. What are you going to do? You're involved. You are finally involved after all these years, and there is no way out of it. I nearly called you last night. Where do you find advocates like that? At times, he even had me feeling sympathy for Simon, which was no mean feat, given how angry I was with him for taking Sam. Just how the hell was he saying? Just what the hell was he saying about Simon anyway? About his motivation? Was Simon really still in love with me, or was he just unwell, pure and simple? And was this Dr. Svengali trying to dress it up as something laudable, something a little flattering, at least to me? There was certainly nothing flattering in his depiction of my marriage, but even in that he attributed more fault to Joe than to me. A strangely likeable man, charming, even handsome in a distinguished sort of way. This was the man Simon had character assassinating my husband on the day that Simon had chosen as perfect for taking my little boy. And this concludes today's offerings. I'm going to cut it short. I'm tired, and I'm going to have some quiet time in the garden with my birdie boys. The afternoon is quickly disappearing out from under us. So many blessings from sacred space at Titania's realm. Choose life. Choose joy and delight. Choose overripe mango. Choose life's simple pleasures. Stay cool till after school, and remember, as always, to never ever let the bastards grind you, me, us down. Bye for now.